Artist Hunt Slonem signs each copy of his latest book with his iconic bunny drawing, a recurring theme of his work with a hypnotic quality in its simplicity.
Doing the rabbits became like calligraphy to me. I call these my studies, and I started singling things out of earlier paintings, such as the rabbits, and doing individual studies.
The artist is a critical and commercial success, with close ties to Louisiana, his second home. His signature bunny paintings belong to a prolific body of work on display at the Cabildo in New Orleans in a retrospective.
I have to start by saying that everything in the show is owned by people in Louisiana. We didn't bring anything in for this show. So it's not only a survey of my work, but it's also a survey of what's been collected in the state. So that's a very important fact to consider, how much support I've had here and what a difference it's made in my life.
Walls are filled with artwork depicting birds, bayous, and bunnies, popular subjects in Hunt's art, especially the rabbits, which appear in art, sculpture, fabric, and wallpaper.
I started putting rabbits at the feet of the saints, among other animals. That's where I first remember painting them. I could not swing contemporary frames, so I went to the flea market all the time and came up with antique frames for most of the work. I started painting paintings for the frames, which these were originally Victorian photo portrait frames.
This juxtaposition of colorful whimsy, framed by a nod to the past, has evolved into other iterations of the bunny, including diamond dust paintings and works in resins, neon, and light boxes.
So this is about a 35-year use of one of my easels. When I crosshatch, I flick paint off of the painting and it winds up on the easel.
35 years.
Hunt splits his time between his New York studio and Maidwood, one of several historic homes he refurbished. He's owned 3 in Louisiana over the past 25 years. Hunt says Louisiana is his muse, but he prefers to creatively recharge when visiting rather than create.
Well, one of my favorite things about Louisiana is live oaks and Spanish moss. So I guess the plant form of Louisiana is very unique and completely memorable.
Louisiana is a lifelong subject in Hunt's storied career, starting with his days at Tulane University, where he first fell in love with Louisiana's architecture and history.
Cross-hatching that you talked about. This is a sugar refinery of Albania Plantation?
Yes, and it doesn't exist anymore, but it was owned after the Grevenberg family.
Today, Hunt Slonem's works are collected and shown worldwide. His use of color and ever-evolving techniques and art forms resonate in the art world.
I'm looking at the bird paintings and I see repetition, which is a signature of your work. What's the subtext of this repetition?
Well, to me, repetition, all divinity is kind of repetition, the rosary, the mala, mantras, repeating things, you kind of become one with them. And so it's a way of doing a prayer, basically, for me.
Hunt's name recognition doesn't come from his signature, but rather a sentiment, a certain style and a look, recognizable as distinctly Hunt Slonem. It's why he doesn't sign the front of his artwork, a calculated gesture calling attention to the work itself.
I prefer not to say more and let the work speak for itself.
The artist's idiosyncratic interests continue to propel him in new directions. Hunt says he was born under the sign of the bunny in Chinese astrology, an enduring subject of his art with bigger things to come.
I just feel like I'm at my best when I'm on a very large scale. I've done 100-foot paintings that have never been shown. I wanted to show more and more new places, just you know, experiencing the world has always been part of my work.